Welcome back to MMA Unhinged, and today joining me is Terry Lemaire. Terry, how you doing, my man?
Hey, not too bad. You, Luke?
I'm doing good, thank you. But we're focusing on you here. You're the man of the hour. So let's just get started. I just wanted to ask, how are you feeling as now that you have a fight announced? Have you started fight camp yet? And how's that going if you have?
Yeah, fight camp's going great, Luke. We're not cutting any corners for this one. Obviously, it's a huge fight. Um, Fight camp started about 6 weeks ago, so it's a full camp. We got 10 weeks all together, and we're about halfway through. And I'm feeling good, man. Feeling strong. No nagging injuries. We'll keep those fingers crossed, and we'll keep pushing away.
Well, a couple of things you brought up. Obviously, you both have had some nagging injuries in the past, but with every fight camp, I know is different. But besides this being a title fight, what's so much different with this fight, and how have you prepared differently versus other fights?
Well, obviously it's a big fight. It's a big name. We jumped at the opportunity when we had my last one fall through with the matchmaker. They had an opponent lined up and everything at 135, which is what I usually fight at, right? My regime's a little bit different just because we're up a weight class and I can eat food. So, I'm fueling my body properly. I got a nutritionist behind me, and we're getting some heavy lifts in. We're getting a little bit of muscle put on for this one. And I'm excited not to have to cut so much weight and actually be able to perform probably at the best I've ever been.
Well, and that must be relieving for you, fighting at featherweight now. Obviously, if you win the fight, you would be staying at featherweight. But that being said, either way, do you think that fighting at featherweight is going to be the next step forward, or do you think you can go back down to bantamweight? How's your body feeling?
Honestly, I've never had an issue cutting down to 135. I am a big 135er. I walk around pretty big at some points, and that's why we took the fight. I wasn't too worried about moving up a weight class. We fought at 145 before, but I think I'll probably be making the cut back down. There's a possibility always to go back up in weight, but that's my home. Bantamweight's my home.
100%. And you talked about some injuries. What have you and your team done to prepare you to not get any injuries during this preparation?
Just leading up into fight camp, it was more structured. It wasn't just like blast into a grind. We made sure to build up slowly, and I got a lot of different people in my corner for my body. So I got massage therapy, freedom relaxation, who does work on my body constantly. I got chiropractors. I got an osteopath. And I just make sure that I take the time for recovery on those days where my body just tells me no.
Of course. And let's talk a little bit about Total Martial Arts Center. Can you talk a little bit about that and the people you train with, and what prompted you to get into the MMA to begin with?
I started MMA when I was I started kickboxing when I was 18. It was a good friend of mine at the time. He was doing a class, and I was I was big into hockey, not professional hockey, but competitive hockey. And around that age, you kind of fizzle out unless you're going to junior A or, got that call to the NHL, and it wasn't happening for me. So I switched my competitive edge over to kickboxing and mixed martial arts, and just haven't stopped since. And I've been at Total Martial Arts Center since that time. It's the only gym I've ever trained at. It's the best one up here in the north. We have Matthew Poulin, who's a black belt, second degree under Mauricio Bustamante and Fabio Holanda, BTT. We have a great wrestling program there with our guy Juice, who used to teach high school wrestling and stuff here in town, who's also a black belt on his own in BJJ. And we got a lot of high level guys there. It's a small knit community, and our gym has some of the best.
Well, I know you're overtrained out there in Timmins. However, with the Canadian with the Canadian MMA community is so large.
Yeah.
In such a with Canada MMA, it's such a small, tight knit thing, but the Ontario fighters are so much, there's so many high level fighters. So, have you had a chance to maybe spend some of your camp at other gyms, getting a feel from other fighters, and who have you been able to have the chance to train with?
Not for this camp more so, but in previous camps, I have made the trips down to Montreal. I know it's outside of Ontario, but that's where our headquarters is for BTT. So I have trained out there. I've trained at H2O. Did some rounds with Frederick Dupra a few years back. I've trained with Johan Lajeunesse from the UFC, Charles Jourdain. Just to name off a few, and a bunch of other high level fighters out there in Quebec. Usually I do my strength and conditioning, which is out of Sudbury. That's where my strength and conditioning coach is, who's like, he has the top notch stuff in the north right now. So like, there's no guessing games with him, which is a great asset to have for me in this fight camp.
And that being said, looking at your career so far, obviously during the pandemic, you still were able to you can manage to at least get a fight during the peak of pandemic. Was there any doubt in your mind that maybe you weren't going to be able to get the fights just with everything being shut down, or promotions not being able to put on fights because of all the regulations and rules and everything going on?
Honestly, I just kept pushing the door. I was contacting promoters outside of Canada the whole time COVID was going on, especially just because I was healthy, and in the past years leading up to COVID, when I was fighting for TKO MMA, they had a lot of canceled events. I had opponents drop out, so it was a rough 2 years before that. And there was no way I was going to go another year or two without competing. And I just kept bugging them, man. I just kept Instagramming everybody. I was like CFFC. I was calling people in Alabama. It was backyard fights, like whatever it was. And yeah, I ended up fighting 3 times. I fought in Alabama, I fought in Kentucky, and then I fought in Ohio. So I definitely kept busy. It was some of my best years for
Of course, and I
activity.
feel you kind of had to at that point with the United States. That really they're the only ones that seem to be able to push out those promotions. I know Canada was a little far behind there with getting all the promotions come back. But that being said, here we are, 2023. That being said, I mean, did you have any chance to get into any other shows during this time? And has it been hard to adjust to go from one different promotion to the other?
No, not really. Like a lot of the shows that I have been on since COVID, they were supposed to be lined up. Like I was supposed to fight for FLA, who I just fought for in March. I was supposed to fight for them a few years ago, just before COVID. So it was nice to get out there, and get back on Canadian soil. I've been on enemy territory for the past few years, so it was cool to have Canadian people in the crowd. And we were also supposed to fight for them September 30th for their title after that win, but things didn't work out. It fell through, and here we are now. I'm going up a weight class, and I'm fighting TJ Laramie.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that. TJ Laramine, November 18th, BTC 22 in Burlington. Uh, Talking about this fight, when you had the call or the opportunity to fight him, was it immediate yes, or was there some? Did you have to think about it, or were you offered other fights during that time as well?
I wasn't offered anything well, I did have something lined up. It was with BTC at 135. It was a lot of back and forth. We agreed to the contract and everything, and we're just waiting to hear back on the opponent, and ended up fizzling out. He didn't want the fight. So, we were kind of, that was right after FLA canceled on us, maybe, the start of September, maybe end of August for September 30th. And my trainer, he video chatted me on Facebook, Matt Poulet, and he never video chats me with good news. So like every time I see my phone ring, I'm like, shit, like this is gonna be bad. So, anyways, he's just smiling ear to ear, and I'm like, what's going on here? And he's like, what are you weighing right now? I'm like, because it was going to be a catch weight, actually. It was going to be 140 pounds, my fight that they had lined up for me.
Mhm.
So it's like, I'm weighing enough to make 140. So don't tell me I got to go down to bantamweight right now. So then he's like, how do you feel about fighting at 145 for the BTC title? I'm like, okay, who? And he just like all giddy and he's like, TJ Laramie. And I was just blown away. I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, let's do this. Like, let's roll this fight into the cage and let's make it happen because, I've never been so excited for a fight in my life. And, it's not just the name value and everything. It's just, a fellow Canadian that's built himself up from the ground up. And, he made it to the show. And I respect the hell out of the guy. And I can't wait to get into the cage with him and really put on a show for everybody at BTC.
Obviously you have a chance to win the belt, but more than that, beating someone like TJ Laramie, a UFC vet, a guy that's been there and that's done it. What do you feel that does for your career? And do you feel like maybe a step beating someone like TJ Laramie and not just beating him but getting the belt and being a belt in BTC? Do you feel like that's just one more step getting to the big show?
Honestly, yeah, like I feel like it'll solidify that step. He's a huge name. He's relevant. He's dangerous. He's got a bunch of finishes. I think that this will be the next step. You got UFC in Toronto, and I definitely like to step my foot into the octagon there. And hopefully, one fight at a time, and we're gonna see how this one plays out, and we're gonna leave it all in there.
And with some of these other promotions, is there like talks with bigger promotions, maybe like with someone like Bellator or UFC? Do they kind of push fighters to get to that next level, or are you allowed to talk about that?
Usually, like Matthew Poulain deals with all that. He's always on the sidelines doing the background stuff, and I just concentrate on what's ahead of me, and I train. That's what I do.
And looking at someone like TJ Laramie, obviously I could ask you all the things that you're better than him. If you didn't think you were going to win this fight, you don't take the fight, right? Why are you fighting, right? So I'm not going to ask you what you expect from that fight, but I wanted to ask you, what do you like about TJ Laramie and what he brings to this fight that gets you excited for this matchup?
Mm. Just his intensity. I know that this is going to be a fight for the fans, and I could see this being a 5-round war, or there can be a finish. So, at the end of the day, everybody's going to be in that stadium at the event center, and they're going to be having a good time.
And looking at your opponent like TJ Laramie, what are you? I don't mean to have you spoil your game plan, but what are the things that you've been working on during camp to prepare for this kind of matchup?
Honestly, it's like any other camp. It's mixed martial arts. It's not kickboxing. It's not wrestling. We're always hitting every facet of the game. Obviously, we're critiquing and looking at videos of them and trying to find the holes and where we can, really put our game into effect. But it's always a full rounded camp with us. We're big into wrestling and nogi and all the good stuff.
And that being said, I know fighters are always asked how they're gonna win this fight. So for you, looking at a guy like TJ Laramie, how do you see yourself finishing this fight?
Um, we're gonna go with a spinning elbow to high kick to the face.
Oh, that sounds great. And that being said, now I know you always come in great shape. You know you have to make the weight. So, what's kind of is there any kind of cheat meal that you normally like to have after a fight? Is there a ritual you have, or is there something that you plan to do after this fight?
You know what? I've always indulged hard after fights, because I always limit myself so much. There's not. I got a sweet tooth. I love my ice cream. I love my sugary snacks, but I don't feel like I'm restricting myself. I'm having not that I'm eating McDonald's or anything, but I'm able to have that scoop of Nutella at the end of the day. So, no, I don't have anything planned out. I'm just I feel great. I'm probably gonna stay in shape, and I'll have that one little cheat meal of maybe a slice of pizza or a double decker burger. We'll see, and we're gonna continue on after this fight and stay in fight ready shape.
Excellent. And when you're not training, what does Terry do?
What does Terry do? Well, if you saw my house right now, I'd tell you I'm going to be cleaning. When I'm not fighting, I have a full-time job. I'm an underground heavy equipment mechanic. We're a family of 6. I have 4 boys at home, so we like to stay active and play outside, and just go for dirt bike rides, 4-wheeling, all that fun northern bush stuff.
And when you're at work and when you're with the guys there, do you get a lot of the guys asking you, hey, you need to beat this guy's ass? Do you ever get a lot of that that support from the friends and family?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. The support in Timmins is next to none. Like, people are just blown away by the amount of local support, like sponsors, friends, family. Like, it's a small community. We're about 50,000 people, and even if you're not an MMA fan, you're a fan. You're a fan of your hometown boy, and it's awesome to have here.
And with your family, do you let your kids come watch your fights or no?
They haven't seen live, but they watch pay-per-view, and they're excited for it. Yeah.
Is that something that do you like to have them get involved, or is that something that you kind of like to shy them away from?
No, I definitely they've been involved in jiu-jitsu, my 2 oldest, and they love it. They switched over to the Ninja Warrior now. They like the parkour. But it's an active, it's good to get them active, right? Kids are glued to their iPads nowadays, and I love getting my kids out to the gym. My youngest, Levi, who's just turning 2 soon, he's at the gym with me all the time when I'm, sparring or whatever. And Griff too, he comes out. My third, he's 5. So yeah, they love it. They love being a part of the gym community, and they're active boys. And yeah, it's a good thing to get them started early.
Awesome, Terry. Well, I just want to say it's first time chatting with you, so I just want to say it was nice to meet you, Terry. And thank you again for taking the time. And I'm going to give you the spotlight here. Any sponsors, anyone that you would like to do a shout out to?
Yeah, for sure. I got a laundry list of sponsors, so I'm not gonna name them name by name just because I don't want to miss any. They're all, very supportive and important to me, and I want to thank all of them for continuing to support my fight camps and whatnot. And just a shout out to Total Martial Arts Center, all my training partners, Matthew Poulin, my main guy. He'll be rocking probably the weirdest hat in the cage when we go down to BTC. He's always got something new on his head. And just my family, friends, and my wife at home, who's definitely taking care of the home front while I'm doing those late night grinds. And yeah, that's about it. And I hope to see everybody there November 18th for a good time.
Yes, and Terry, good luck on November 18th, and you come home with the belt, and we'll talk again soon.
Sounds good, Luke. Take care.